Well, I was talking to somebody yesterday about this. We were going through the scenarios at the bottom of the first round, top of the second round, and like who's going to go where, and how do you think this will fall? And I'm like, well, I can't predict the Ravens. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, this is going to be a great player that's going to fall to him. It happens every year. Like you're not anticipating he's going to be there, and then lo and behold, there it is. So this one was like Cooper DeJean, and to me, the Ravens defense is you start with kind of. They've always had kind of that same mentality going back to when I was there I was there in 2003. So right after their Super Bowl run of 2000, but there's just a certain type of personality that fits in there. And this dude is that, like, in terms of tough, versatile, smart, explosive, like all those kind of core traits. Like we used to always, on every player, we had to put what we called like an STI rating on them, which was speed, toughness, and instincts. And if you were on a scale of 3 to 7, which was what we used, 3 poor, 4 below average, 5 average, 6 above average, 7 excellent. Like if we're going to go speed, toughness, instincts, Cooper DeJean might be a 777. Like he's across the board in all three of those areas that they care about. They've since added character into there, and that's, he's a 7 there as well. So he fits everything, and they want to be multiple, and they want to bring guys from all over the place. And one play he can cover in the slot. I think he can hold up outside if you want him to. He hasn't played a ton of safety, but I could, I compared him a little bit to Weddle. Weddle was playing corner and covering Calvin Johnson at Utah back in the day. But like you can look at his skill set and be like, well, that'll translate easy. So that to me just felt like a Raven. And I also go back to the Ravens. Let's see, Marshall Yanda, Iowa hit. Let's go with Linderbaum, Iowa hit. Geno Stone, Iowa hit. Kirk Ferentz is very close with Eric DeCosta to the point where when Eric DeCosta would go scout Iowa back in the day when I was there, he would stay at Kirk's house. So like that's all the connective tissue that make that a good fit.
Well, that stuff definitely matters when we're talking about trying to map this stuff out, where these guys going to land. The connective tissue matters a lot. I'll tell you what, just from what you said up at the top, that it feels like the Ravens every year get the A+ draft grade because they take someone who fell a little too far in the first round, someone whose name everyone knows and every draft analyst likes. It feels like every draft analyst loves Cooper DeJean. I mean, and we had Nate Tice on the first mock draft Monday, and I feel like he was just gushing about him going to the Rams, and it's like everybody that watches these defensive players seems to really appreciate his skill set. So that is a perfect Raven fit just from the intangible and then the tangible, just like media stuff. People are going to love that pick. I'm curious if they take Cooper DeJean, they have Kyle Hamilton, it's probably going to be about the same system, right? But they did lose Mike McDonald, who did such a great job disguising coverages. Like they could just throw so much at you last year. How do you see that personnel sort of playing out if indeed it is Kyle Hamilton, Cooper DeJean? Like where are these guys lining up?
Yeah, to me, I just think about the fun you'll have in sub, because I think Cooper DeJean can be your nickel backer. You have him and Roquan Smith out there together would be kind of fun watching them play off of each other. And then you've got Kyle Hamilton, who can be your big nickel. You can flop them in those situations. You're going to have a hard time IDing people with that skill set that they have. So to me, I think, how would they deploy them? I think it would be a week-to-week basis, and they can do whatever the heck they want. And it's just trying to collect as many versatile pieces as you can. To me, that's what's been the magic about that system, and that's why the Michigan system and the Ravens defense are the two going to be. You'll see it next year in college and in the NFL will be the two most copied defenses that we have. Everybody's enamored with it.
You better have the right players to do it. That's one of those systems to me. And this would ensure that the Ravens can continue to have the right players to run that system. And man, I mean, just the NFL is all about the middle of the field right now. Like, can you win that middle of the field battle? So much of playoff matchups we talk about on this show, Lions versus 49ers, like who's going to win in that middle of the field, right? I mean, just think about the way the Chiefs dominate over the middle of the field with Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce. You get Cooper DeJean kind of hawking around that area. You already have Kyle Hamilton do that. You put Roquan Smith in there as well. That's how you try to own that middle of the field and make that a very tough place for quarterbacks to want to throw the ball. And it's already a risky place for quarterbacks to throw the ball.
Well, I mean, and you've seen it in charting it. Like everybody plays with a roof now, so there's a roof line. You can't just win consistently like that over the top. So you have to work in that. We always call it the muddy area. Like you just got to figure out a way to win in the mud. And the more people you can clog that up, that's why one of the other trends I'm curious to see as football continues to grow and evolve, is are you going to start to see teams play with off the ball linebackers that are like 6'5", 6'6", with long arms, and just say, this is what we're going to be doing. If we're going to play with a lot of too high coverage, and we're going to put a lid on everything, you talk about clogging up lanes with speed. How about with just size and length?
Yeah, literally clogging
everything up. Yeah. Yeah. And then, which is then fascinating because you've got Jim Harbaugh coming back into the NFL. It's saying, okay, everybody wants to worry about all that stuff. We're going to just go 12 and 13 personnel and just try and run power 60 times a game. So it's a fascinating chess match in the NFL right now.
By the way, it's going to be incredible how people react to it when it works with Jim Harbaugh. Like when they have Justin Herbert back there and they're just running the piss out of the ball, man. It's going to be funny when that like wins them games and how that's going to break a lot of brains out there. I love that idea of these 6'4", 6'5" linebackers out there. And, God willing, DJ, you and I are still doing this in 10 years. And like, that's when we'll probably see that. We'll come back to this conversation right here and be like, yep, DJ called it. Like these linebackers are friggin' 6'4" and 6'5" now. And I mean, that'll be pretty incredible. And you're right. Like, everybody plays the roof. I'm sure the number one phrase my subscribers are sick of hearing, and like my listeners are sick of hearing me talk about, is like, this guy's dig route success rate. I'm like, but you got to do it.
That's the NFL.
Yeah, you got to be able to run that dig route and work over to the middle of the field. But